Thank you very much. Honorable Member for Niamina East. Sierra. Niamina East. Okay.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. First, Honorable Speaker, let me recognize or acknowledge the effort of the CRC, the Constitutional Review Commission, for having done a fantastic assignment, I will call it. Obviously, Honorable Speaker, we are not ignorant of the fact that the CRC was empowered by this August Assembly to go around all over the country and, of course, beyond the country to have that consultation with the Gambian people within the country and outside the country. I can't remember, Honorable Speaker, any individual or this August Assembly asking the CRC to draft this constitution just to suit the interests of an individual, to suit the interests of one political party or one sector of the society. All that they have done is to went round across the country to ensure that the entire Gambian people and all sectors, departments, institutions, and so on were consulted in order for them to better define the way and the manner in which they want to be governed. And that is exactly what the CRC did. The draft constitution that is before us is not just the making of the CRC or the group that was constituted. This was a task given to them by this August Assembly because we believe that not every Tom, Dick, and Harry can be part of that group to have this document drafted. That is why a group of intellectuals, a group of knowledgeable people, a group of well-educated and experienced individuals were constituted so as to have this assignment done. And we were never in any way mistaken when we were constituting that group of individuals that we call the CRC. So obviously, everything that is written or drafted within the seed of this constitution is not from their own imagination, is not just from their own beliefs, is not just from their own write-up, but is from the will of the Gambian people, is from the mind of the Gambian people, is from the aspiration of the Gambian people, and of course, the belief of the Gambian people as to the manner and the way in which they want to be governed. So the CRC, they did what exactly they were asked to do. And here it is. So the question should be, do we really understand or do we really examine the way and the manner in which the CRC were asked to do this assignment, whether it was done in that magnitude or not? If probably things were not done accordingly, then various issues or questions can come up. But I understand from the view of the members that obviously the way in which they were asked to do their assignment, things were done exactly in that way, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, this very assembly, this August Assembly was consulted. I could remember the committee that is established, that is the Standing Committee on Human Rights and Constitutional Matters, and of course the entire National Assembly members were consulted and a position paper was given. Likewise, all other institutions also, they were given certain questions to answer or the way in which they want to define their institution. And a position paper was given. They went as far as meeting the communities to ensure that they hear from them, to read their mind, to sound their opinion as to the manner they want to be governed. Honorable Speaker, and that was done. But one key thing that we must remember, not every element of the individuals that were consulted must be captured in the draft constitution. That is practically impossible. That everything that was said by the Gambian people must be captured in this draft constitution. Of course, during the consultation, so many issues came up. Of course, debate was going on when they were making their consultation. We are not ignorant of this fact. People have to debate, others have to agree, others have to disagree. But at the end of the day, what happened is majority carried the vote. And that is exactly how they came to the conclusion on every part or clause of this constitution. So obviously, it will not be a doubt if this draft constitution is tabled before the August Assembly for honorable members to have controversial issues. That is normal. It is very, very normal, Honorable Speaker. But do we actually have to reject the draft constitution because of the controversial issues that we have? Like I said earlier, every one of you and those that are outside listening to you, those who elected us here in this August Assembly, they also have issues that are not just captured in this draft constitution. But like I said, majority carried the votes. So the assignment and the work now that we should do as honorable members, we are just a portion of the general public. And from here, we must understand that this might move to another level and to another level, up to the level of referendum, that we know. So meaning our task here is not just to discuss about this here, but the people outside who elected us must understand every element of this constitution before one will vote either yes or no. Honorable Speaker, that is very important. Honorable Speaker, as most of the members, of course, raise controversial issues or issues of concern, I must also raise some of the concerns that I have, Honorable Speaker. If you get to the draft constitution, Honorable Speaker, I have seen that obviously section 1953 of the draft, 1953 of the draft, which states that the National Assembly shall not reduce the budget of the judiciary below the amount approved in the preceding year. Obviously, Honorable Speaker, in as much as the National Assembly is concerned, we must not undermine certain things if we believe and if we are given the powers by this constitution that we are the ultimate institution to allocate resources of this country. Obviously, we have the right to touch every sector of the budget. What of, Honorable Speaker, if we are able to touch other institutions, like you talk of other ministries, but not the judiciary? Honorable Speaker, that does not sound well to me. Every sector or every ministry, as long as budget scrutiny is concerned, we must be given the mandate. And here we are, that mandate must be here for us to touch every sector that we deem fit should be touched. Honorable Speaker, that is very important, but we cannot have that segregation within the ministries. Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, another point that I have regarding the draft is the term limit, Honorable Speaker. I know most of the honorable members did emphasize about the issue of the term limit. Yes, Honorable Speaker, which is very important, but we must understand the rationale behind this. We are advocating for two-term limit. Of course, that is what we are advocating. And others who are, of course, saying whether the incumbent, the current president that we have, or the current term of this president that we have, should be inclusive or not. This is a question and it's a debate. But if you understand what we are really advocating, then you will begin to understand or accept the rationale behind this. We are advocating for 2 terms. Whether this term is inclusive or not, but as long as an individual serves for 2 terms, whether this president or the coming president, that should be enough. That is what we are talking about. So it does not matter. And we must understand that this is not just from an individual. Everything that is written here is not just from the CRC members. The entire Gambian people recommended that this current term of the president should be inclusive. So you and I as an individual, we are saying no to it. Or do we just have to vote against this draft constitution because of that provision? After so much effort, after so much investment, after so much time, the long-awaiting draft constitution just have to go out there on the dustbin. That is very unfortunate and a very bad history for that matter in the long run. Then we are all trading on the side of history, on the part of history, and one day history shall judge us. That is obvious. Here we are talking about the 1997 constitution. Today, most of the people will keep blaming, for instance, the former government for having brought this 1997 constitution. Others will say that it's because of history we are talking about all these things. Today it is our time, we have the opportunity, we have the chance to start correcting some of the things that we believe that they are wrong. So obviously because of one element, because of 2 elements or controversial things that you have in the constitution, that should not just make you to throw out this constitution. Because your vote matters. Your vote counts a lot, as long as the draft is concerned. Honorable Speaker. So that is the concept, and that is the belief. Whosoever starting from now, this is the view of the Gambian people, is the belief, and this is what they want. So obviously, after going around the entire country and beyond the country, having accepted this and it is drafted, you have nothing to tell us, you have nothing to do but just to say no against this constitution because of that provision. The advocacy is 2 terms. An individual serving 2 terms, then you have to lead the way. This is what we are talking about, Honorable Speaker. The other point, Honorable Speaker, is about the Honorable Speaker, is about the National Assembly. For instance, Honorable Speaker, under section 124. Today, most of the members, I heard them, of course, talking about whether do we really need to have the president appointing the ministers or the cabinet members automatically without subject to the approval or confirmation of the National Assembly or not. Honorable Speaker, I have a different view. In as much as we want to promote independent institutions among or within the 4 arms of government, that is the legislative, of course you have the judiciary, and of course the executive. My view and my take is that, Honorable Speaker, we have to leave everything on the hands of the executive, of course I mean the president, to do this appointment. We should not have any hand as an oversight institution to be part of the appointment of the ministers. That is my take, that is my belief, Honorable Speaker. The National Assembly is given the power if you are not satisfied with any minister appointed. If any minister happens to commit something that is to the detriment of the Gambian people, of course you have the right to cast a vote of no confidence on that very minister. That chance is there. So the issue of competency that can always be ascertained by this National Assembly as long as oversight function is concerned. This we must note, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, like I alluded earlier, Honorable Speaker, here we are, and we are not ignorant of the effort of the CRC. We are very much aware what they have done. And the entire process was actually accurate, because I didn't have, of course, any member challenging the process that was undertaken. Honorable Speaker, obviously, like I said, every institution, every department, every sector of this very great nation, they have issues that are not obviously captured by the CRC. And these are things that can be remedied in the long run. Honorable Speaker, as a result of that, one does not just have to reject the entire constitution because you are not in agreement with what the CRC recommended or what the Gambian people recommended as per the term limit. Honorable Speaker, one does not just have to reject this present constitution, this draft constitution, because of a right that forms part of the draft constitution that obviously the government does not have the capacity to fulfill. These are things that we can correct in the long run, Honorable Speaker. One does not just have to throw out this draft constitution, Honorable Speaker, because of what? You are not in agreement with the draft constitution simply because you are in support of the 1997 constitution. We all cried, we all struggled, we all battled throughout in the past years to ensure that we have this reform done. And now that it is here, you have no other idea, you have no other suggestion, but to tell the individuals who are out there, your electorate, I mean, because we are seeing what is going on, Honorable Speaker. Having accepted this, at the end of the day, you go out there, start campaigning people to vote against this, it means you are actually jeopardizing the will of the Gambian people. Because considering the fact that 70% or 75% of the people out there are not educated, they are not aware of this, and it is your duty. It is our responsibility to enlighten people, to educate people, to let them know what actually this document entails. You fail to do that, you have nothing to do but to poison the mind of the people, the electorate out there, to vote against this constitution. History will judge you for that. Always remember that, bear that in your mind. So it is our duty. I will urge all honorable members who are here, it is not just one thing to play. Accepting this here or rejecting this here is one thing. But at the end of the day, if we should move to another level, especially the level of referendum, obviously we have another part to play. Considering the threshold, 50% turn out, 75% yes, which is very high. So just one sector of the population going against this constitution obviously might lead to catastrophe, disaster, Honorable Speaker. And that is not what we are praying for. And that is not what we were crying for. That is not what we were aiming for. That is not what we really want to achieve at the end of the day. Honorable Speaker, my position is very clear. And what I am urging other members to do, because of the one element controversial thing that you have in this constitution, should not make you to vote against this constitution. Thank you very much. Voting against the constitution means you are voting in favor of the 1997 constitution, which we were crying